Hello there.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Good morning, Vietnam!
It's the Al Travis Show. It is Suicide Prevention on the Air Day, and I can't say enough how happy I'm. We know of 55 radio stations, possibly more, that have joined in with us to help spread the awareness of suicide and SAVE itself, Suicide Awareness, Voices of Education. Save.org. Go there today, and any donation given today will be doubled. And according to Eric Mishy, the guy from SAVE, you're not lying to me. He says there's no number we can't top. We get $1 million. Somebody's putting that $2 million in. You're not.
Tell you what, if somebody's out there listening who has $5 million, I dare you to donate it, and it'll get doubled today.
See, that's just off the chart. So I'm very happy that we're a part of this. I'm happy that most of my guests that we get Senator Susan Kent on for. Eric, you probably don't know. He doesn't listen. We do an hour a week, and it's called Yeah But, or Clean Up in Aisle 9, because we tend to interrupt each other constantly. The other thing you don't know is she is from her extended studio, and if you look at her there, she looks in this very nice place. Just over her back shoulder down there is the bear pit, where the live bears come up to her house, and I can't believe she lives there. I don't know how anyone would go there on a regular basis and survive.
Because it's a beautiful day in Lutsen, Minnesota, and the leaves are gorgeous red, and the sun is shining. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me squinting.
Nothing beats getting eaten by a bear on a beautiful, fine day.
There you go.
That's what they say.
You lost me at bear pit. As soon as I heard somebody has a bear pit.
Just behind her backyard. That's her. These bears keep showing them. Mom and 3 bears, and they're there all summer long. It's like, get out of their house. They want to live there.
We live in the woods, and so do the bears, and they stroll through every now and then, and they're adorable. So, yeah.
I have an abundance of a lack of courage. So, right? So, bear pit.
I don't feel all that comfortable going to the new zoo, which, by the way, that's how old I am. We called it the new zoo when they made it, and watching them in a bin. It's like, can they get through the glass? I don't know. And she's got like that mosquito screen between her and death. I don't know. Anyway, I don't do it that way.
So many feet. There's walls here. We're good.
That's exactly what everybody who has ever died by bear said just before the actual thing happened. All right, so Senator Kent is on the program. We got a couple of things because I'm very happy you're on with me today. Senator Nicole Mitchell literally was sitting in your seat you had after you left, right? The Senate seat.
Yeah. It's
you roll your eyes. But you're handling it well.
Am I though?
Well, and I've not been a huge. I wanted to believe her the whole time. If she said she had a thing she was going to tell us in court, and then you'd be like, okay, that's why. That didn't really happen. When you got all said and done, it's like, this is kind of what we thought happened. So I was really interested in how the trial was going to end, what she was going to get sentenced to, and that got pushed back 1 week too. And anyway, we got to sentencing yesterday, and roughly, I think it was 5 years of probation, 6 months in jail. She gets a third of that off or something for being good if she's good in jail. The judge, because this was up in Lake Alexandria or Detroit Lakes, said she can serve it down at her home, the Ramsey County, and get work release because she ended up getting a job. Got 2 kids to support. So she got day release or whatever they call it, the work release.
Yeah.
I looked at it and said, you know what? Even as though I think that was really a fair deal. What are your thoughts on it? I think you you split the baby in half like that, right? She got punished, but her kids aren't going to suffer forever.
I thought the Star Tribune article that sort of analyzed the arguments yesterday was a pretty good look at all of it. The reality is she is a complete first-time offender. She has absolutely no any sort of law-breaking history, which, regardless of whether or not she's a legislator, that really matters, right?
Sure.
In sentencing for anybody. But as I understand it, and we have well established that I got my law degree from the University of Law and Order, but I think this is a statutory minimum because it is felony burglary. And so I do think that, it's and again, this is not just because she's a former legislator. This is something that I think is a healthy thing that our correction system is doing, is trying to keep families whole and trying to keep people in a position to be able to pay their dues to society and come out and then still be good, functional parents and family members and members of society and all of that. And so, yeah, I do think that this was a good, reasonable way. And again, not using a special yardstick for somebody who happened to have been an elected official.
And I agree with the sentence on that. I think if you're the first time offender, you defended our country, you're in the service. I don't think there's anything given special. I think she got a little special treatment on how this went. I think if you were just Joe Guy and you got caught for that, I think in 6-8 months, it's all done, right? We're going to we'll figure it out. Being a senator, she got to postpone this like 2-3 times.
Yeah, I actually got in a debate with someone about this recently, because the reality is, and the person I was debating with was taking this position. Everything that she claimed was legal. I mean, she took advantage of every legal, to the degree I can see, off ramp or delay that she could. And this comes into one of those conversations where it's like, just because she could, should she have, but she didn't. Well, it was special treatment in the sense that it was available to her as a legislator. And I think, this goes back to conversations we've had about, are there ways that we need to reevaluate the ethics process in the legislature? Because right now, it's
even that law. There's some law in the books that they wrote, because if you're coming in on a pony and the sheriff could stop you and say you were speeding, he could keep you from voting. So isn't the whole thing about you can't go after legislators during the session is because, you could tip the balance of power if you're a bad sheriff? This had nothing to do with that.
But they did go. I mean, they did charge her during session.
Because that's when it happened.
But people have tried to twist that thing, because we don't want politicized law enforcement people stopping somebody from fulfilling their representative duties for political trumped up reasons, right? I mean, that's the reason there is a law like that, as there should be, because we don't want that happening on either side. And in this case, it did not prevent her from being arrested and held in jail for a few days and missing votes. And the problem is, how do legislators deal with it when these things happen? And so that is still a topic that I think needs further work.
I don't know, Eric, you talked about it when we had Putnam on. I don't know if you have any other things you want to say about it, because the only other one I was going to say is that I want to talk about before we go to break, then we'll talk all things safe. It looks to the day in the paper, it doesn't look like Walz now will possibly call that special session. And again, I think we've been chatting about it. Numbers don't add up, but I'm going to ask you from your side, was it a mistake then? He came out, I get it, feeling we got to get rid of guns, and he goes, we're going to have a special session, and he can't pull it off. Is that a chink in his armor on this, or he should have shushed?
I think that's just a judgment call. Like, for independent people have their different opinions about whether or not that's a mistake, right? I mean, there are people who think that strategically, don't bring up the idea of a special session if you're not sure you have the votes and can make it happen, right? There are other people who look at this issue and say, yeah, we need people trying to act, and at least he did, so that is a matter of personal opinion and your view on a number of things. It could be a good idea morally or personally, and it can be a bad idea strategically. It depends on how people want to look at it.
Eric, go ahead. I want to hear from you, because you did this back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I have an opinion about the subject matter related to the issue and its impact on suicide. Other people smarter than me will have to make a decision about whether or not this was a smart political decision on the part of the governor. What I will say is this. As it relates to suicide and the leading means of death by suicide, which is a firearm, clearly we've got to talk about this. We have to have an adult conversation about this, because we are seeing more and more instances of people dying by suicide as a result of a firearm. You cannot disconnect the relationship between someone who dies by suicide who also chooses to end the lives of other people. So I'd love to chat more about that subject without getting into whether or not the governor made a wise decision politically.
And can I chime in on that really quickly and just respond to Eric, because I really appreciate you saying that, because I that is a thing that, when these conversations often come up as the result of mass shootings, particularly school shootings. And we lose track of the fact, just as you said, that far too many of people losing their lives to firearms are because of suicide. And so because the attention, the media always focuses on these mass events that are relatively very small percentage of firearm deaths. And the tragic loss of life to suicide because of firearms is something we need to not lose track of.
We're going to talk about on the other side. It will mention the yeah, but portion of the program. Eric, I can do this. So I asked her a legitimate question, Eric, about whether the governor lost or gained points by whether he can't call this thing. And what does she say? She poo-poos the whole idea. Oh, some winning, some will think it's nothing. The paper put on the front flipping page, it must be a story of some kind, someone winning or losing. I didn't make it up, Senator. That's how Yabba works. When you got
Can't
nothing.
wait till you come back on this show.
We'll be back after this with more.
Every week, Eric,
September
every
is
week.
Suicide Prevention Month, a time to raise awareness, support survivors, and save lives. Here in Minnesota, September 24th is Suicide Prevention on the Air Day. Every dollar raised will support SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, providing education, advocacy, and programs of hope. And on that day, your gift will go twice as far because every donation will be matched dollar for dollar. Visit save.org to see our work, learn how you can help, and donate. Remember September 24th because every voice can save a life.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called DustLock. DustLock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with DustLock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
You need a friend at the Capitol who knows how to get things done.
And you're in luck because that's exactly who we are, your friends at the Capitol, and we deliver results.
At Momentum Advocacy, we bring decades of experience in lobbying, public affairs, and crisis communications.
From local nonprofits to national corporations, we help you move policy, manage your media, and make your voice heard.
We're not just seasoned pros, we're essential partners.
Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more at momentum-advocacy.com.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
Let's get ready to offend. I'm going to do it here. I've got Senator Susan Kent and Eric Mishu with us on the program. I don't want to put Eric in a spot, but here's some stuff we learned today, Senator Kent. Evidently, like 5 people a year were dying by suicide off a bridge in Minneapolis. And it took like 25 years to have somebody say, oh, what, $8 million, we put up the fence thingy and this doesn't happen anymore. Seems like almost a no-brainer to me. You know, just it's like, who's saying no? They've got another one. You're the roughly same age as I. Did you take the Resusci Annie course in health class where you learned to do CPR? Staying alive? Yes, I remember that. Did you ever take that? Senator?
Oh, you're talking to me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, that was not offered in my youth, but I did take it in a different setting.
Well, we took that in health class. It was like a week or whatever. Resusci Annie training. Had little... And I sit here, and Eric and I have talked about this before, and here's where I'm going with this. They have this one-step program. It's like 45-minute look it online thing, and it helps you to, if you run into someone who seems to be having issues, how to talk to them, how to find out if they're having issues. If they're having issues, what to do next. Why in God's green earth are we not having a thing in Minnesota saying, this course, just as is, put it on the TV instead of movie day in gym class, and we're going to have every kid watch it to give them those tools that... You and I know you keep track of my feelings. I get scared. I think the biggest problem Eric has is fear. The fear of talking to people about suicide, the fear of discussing it in general.
Yeah.
So how do we get something like that passed, Senator? That's a no-brainer. Who's going to say, don't make them watch that movie?
Well, I want to say before I would sign on to something like that, I want to make sure, in the spirit of healthcare, first do no harm. If we have vulnerable kids, is that a message that's okay for everybody? So if somebody is in trouble, are they going? If is there something in there that's going to make things worse for them? I want to make sure that whatever this program is not going to make things worse. But in principle, I agree with you. I mean, I think that people understanding, better what mental health is. I think destigmatizing mental health and mental illness is hugely important. And information can only help with that. And I do think when we see this in so many different aspects of our lives, fear stops people. I was having a conversation with someone just this morning about, people who get a cancer diagnosis or think there might, that are slow to get the diagnosis because they're scared of the news, and so, there's an element of that's human nature, but yeah, we absolutely have a need to overcome it. But I want to come back and say, we can help support and identify and help people realize they need to seek help. But, what I know from my time in the legislature and the work that I did through workforce development and health and human services and education and everything, we do not have the professionals we need to do this work. We need more of them. We do not have the facilities we need. You and I have talked about this, Al. We don't have the beds and the facilities. I know I have friends who have had teenage kids who have been in real crisis, and they've been at their wits' end, and they have all the education and resources available to them, and they could not find a place to take care of their kids. We have to do better. Our insurance system does not anywhere come close to providing the support to our healthcare system to provide mental health care. And so, and I don't want to be political about this because politics, I know, makes some people stop listening, but everybody, and in these recent conversations about the shootings and whether or not it's guns or it's mental health, everybody should wake up and recognize we need more resources dedicated to supporting the mental health of the people that are in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our workplaces, because we don't have enough of it. It is a crisis, and there are too many people who are struggling.
Eric, if I threw it at you and said, okay, put one more thing on your list, go get more financing for all of this stuff that'll happen to, get people hired in there. Is that on your list as well? I mean, oh my goodness, like you're not doing enough stuff.
We support all that. We belong to the Mental Health Legislative Network, and I will say that there's never you can never have too many resources focused on helping support people's mental health. What I will say is this, and Al, I've shared this with you. I think that we need to have more suicide-specific training in schools. I think we need to be in schools sooner, talking with kids. It isn't just about training teachers. It is about making sure that kids at a younger age are aware of the issues regarding suicide. You cannot ignore the fact that kids die by suicide. You can't ignore the fact that social media is increasing rates of suicidal ideation and suicide. And so I think the key thing here is that resources for mental health, critically important. I think we need to start saying we also need to focus on more resources related specifically to talking about suicide, equipping people with the resources to help talk to someone about suicide, and to help them get people to resources that need them. You and I have talked about this before, Al. Not everybody who dies by suicide is mentally ill. There are people who die by suicide who are mentally ill. It's too complex of an issue to say it all fits in one box.
Don't disagree. We're going to talk about wrap this thing up on the other side. Senator Kent, thank you very much for coming on the program, especially on today. I appreciate you being here. We're back with more. We'll wrap it up on the Al Travis
Thanks,
Show.
Eric.
Stay out of the bear pit.